What's up guys, welcome back to another video. In the last video I talked about some of the new regional forms for Ausseos and the Fire Starters redesign. In today's video I'll be introducing even more Fakemon to my Australian-based Fakemon region, aka Project Dreamtime. Be sure to like and subscribe, let's get right into it. When looking over my decks a while ago, I was looking to see what types I was lacking and what animal categories I was lacking in. I noticed there was a much smaller percentage of insects than mammals, aquatics, and certainly, obviously, reptiles. After brainstorming for which insect I could take inspirations from for my new bug type, I thought of mosquitoes. Now, let's be honest, a mosquito is probably something you've seen in real life before, and is probably something you've been bitten by as well. You probably glaze over these little guys, but if you really look at how crazy their anatomy is, you'll realize there's a lot more to these insects than they let on. For this video, I'll be going backwards with the evolution lines, not only because I did this in the original process, but also because I feel as though it's more important to show my growth in this art from the final stage versus the newer versions, aka the first two stages. Because this stage was made around a month ago, while the first two were made around like a week ago. So, as I said, mosquitoes are more interesting than we think. Not only do they have somewhat interesting and complicated anatomy, but also a unique way of getting their food. Now, just because I'm saying this bug is cool, doesn't mean you should go into a swamp area and look to get bitten by these things. Do not do that. However, I do think the method of using a straw or needle-like proboscis mouth thing to suck in blood for its baby larvae is very strange, yet I needed more electric types at the time, so I made it a bug and electric type. Not only because it's drawing in electricity from devices, but maybe some sort of electric terrain in battle, but also a nod to the not very well known fact that some insects can group in swarms and actually create electricity comparable to that of a thunderstorm. Now, if I'm completely honest, I might redesign this little guy. Not too much redesign, but just make it a bit more slender and maybe add some more electronic inspirations, like the first two. Virovolt, the Storm Drain Pokemon. In ancient times, Virovolt was revered as a godlike Pokemon simply for its ability to drain the lightning of storms. One Virovolt may look small and weak, but a swarm of them can drain the electricity from anything nearby. This Pokemon is said to be the connection between two legendaries that were once at war. By the way, let me know if I should give this stage its own wishy-washy styled form, like where they group together and create that menacing, weird monster thingy. Now, as we all know by now, Pokemon loves to make bug types feel as weird as possible, as they're very alien in the real world, at least in my perspective. When thinking about what to do for this kind of a Pokemon, I knew mosquitoes had larvae stages, and I would assume that includes a cocoon stage. I know, it's a bug type, very predictable to see a cocoon, but until you hear about this unique twist. Mosquitoes, of course, have blood draining abilities, which they reuse for energy to give to others, meaning their larva babies. But you know what else has energy and gives to other things? Batteries! I'll be honest, the connection is very thin until you realize that a battery cocoon stage is absolute cinema. It is the best possible thing you could ever think of for a cocoon, electric, and bug type. The biggest problem for this stage, for me, was definitely the silhouette. A cocoon doesn't have arms, legs, head shape, and really no body language. I did kind of make it a little goal of mine to make this mon be more than just a battery with a face. In fact, I even added little electric antennae and somewhat cute white eyes in front of a black covered up face, as you know, it's a cocoon. I honestly love this idea, and I would love to see something similar to this in a real Pokemon game someday. Now, not to be that guy, but I'll just admit this is the best rendering I've ever done of Fakemon, in my opinion. Conducoon, the battery Pokemon. Though often dormant, Conducoon will randomly surge with electricity as its entire body is made up of a unique fiber that conducts it. In battle, it is either extremely relaxed or overwhelmingly annoyed. You'd probably think the fun is over with this trio, right? I mean, I have an awesome battery cocoon and a sick electric storm-draining mosquito. What if I were to tell you that the first stage was just as clever as the second, concept-wise? I was originally going to make this into a rushed, boring, visually unexciting design with little to no effort in it, But then I remembered Oplazar from the Dragon video, which was a recent Fakemon video that I made not too long ago. Always remember, when designing Fakemon, the first stage is just as important as the final. I've really just been trying to rush a few designs and focus heavily more on the others. Don't do that, please, okay? Charmander is just as iconic as Charizard. Sure, Charizard is a much better design. It's a flaming draconic beast with horns, claws, while Charmander is just a chubby orange lizard. But you wouldn't meet a single person anywhere in the world who would think one is more iconic than the other. After rethinking my ideas, I thought it would be the cutest idea to have the larva stage be a little wire with the head being the end of an extension cord. Larvvire, the network Pokemon. Much like Varachnid, Larvvire love electricity and seem to have a connection to it. It's not known why, but Larvvire enjoy consuming the energy that resides within technology. It is very shy and likes to chew on wires for fun. Way back in May, I was searching for all the animals I had yet to create as Fakemon that were somewhat of a staple, or at least somewhat well known in Australian culture. Now, I'm not saying by all means that a Chromeleon is a staple down under. It's not even native, but I will say it's certainly the most unique reptile I've ever seen. Most reptiles have sharp teeth, sleek design, and look very menacing or superior. But chameleons are just different. Look at this freak! No, but in all seriousness, I love chameleons. Not only is their cool color changing ability one of the strangest and most creative ways of adaptation out of any reptile, but also followed by their speedy tongue, unique 360 vision, and goofy design, makes this reptile one of the most diverse species of scaly creature out there. After going through some rough drafts about ideas, I found myself needing some more psychic types. Today's Pokemon are by no means dex fillers, as people would call them, but they do happen to help the Pokedex out in type gaps. After searching for some ideas for a Chameleon-based Pokemon, I realized that there could be a very cool connection between a chameleon and hypnosis. Obviously, a chameleon can have their eyes go in all directions and both moving in different places at once.
I can see my butt and your face at the same time.
But also has the curled up tail, which has a bit of matchup for me visually. And also has the color changing scales, which honestly, if stylized correctly, could match up with the psychic type perfectly and really tie this whole hypnosis thing together where the colors are constantly changing in circular motion. And for the icing on the cake, the cherry on top, the fedora on the eyeball, drumroll please, I added horns. You know those horns on the Jackson chameleon, the ones with 3 horns? Sure, chameleons might not be native to Australia, but this idea was so fun, and we really don't have any chameleon Pokemon that utilize its distinctive capabilities. And in-game, I imagine the tongue to always be sticking out a little bit, and sometimes swaying in a pendulum-like motion, hypnotizing its victims with its swirly eyes and glowing tongue. Well, time for the next entry. Chromeleon, the psychedelic Pokemon. Chromeleon can change the colors of its body, creating mesmerizing patterns to hypnotize opponents. Its hypnotic powers are so strong, it can even lead to Chromeleon itself to be confused for weeks by its own psychic energy, leaving it zoned out and unemotional. Nah, but how funny would that be if you were just like, Chromeleon, use Confuse Ray! And bro was like so zoned out, he can't even use a move. That'd be funny if that was in like the actual game. That would be hilarious. What else could we add to this splendid Australian Fakemon region? Personally, I think we need more shellfish. I don't think we even have any at the moment after Marion got scrapped. Well, wherever you are, you've probably heard the joking, stereotypical Aussie term of shrimp on the bobby. Honestly, it's a funny idea that could actually work as its own Fakemon. Now, if you're asking, well, Rex, what could you possibly do with this shrimp meat on the grill? Well, my very specific impatient viewer, you're about to find out. Thinking about this saying was a bit challenging because it's so simple and there's not a ton to work off of. But I mean, come on, a shrimp on the barbecue? Well, I tried making it a bit cute and a little bit angry, and I guess it worked. I put some orange glowing circles on the back as its main inspiration is a method of cooking, so this Pokemon had to have some relation to cooking utensils, basically a burger flipper and a hot stove, hence the fire typing. Now, don't get me wrong, it would be hilarious if I went on this rant about a stupid saying and all I gave you guys was a burnt shrimp, but I feel like the design overall is what you'd expect from such an iconic Australian saying. Barbekrill, godly name given to me for my amazing friend Fernie, is nothing more than a funny Jokemon I thought would be a fun addition to my region. However, I think it was very fun giving an Aussie slang some characterization. Barbekrill, the grilled shrimp Pokemon. Barbekrill uses the unique glowing circles on its back to heat up its entire body, making it a living stove. It is often used to help in kitchens and will use the back burners to cook various meals and is even a delicacy in Ausseos. If you couldn't tell already, this line is incredibly kitchen themed. As stupid as this idea was, I had to bring myself to advance the idea even more with an evolution. I know we're in the land down under and not the UK, but I did kind of go for a Gordon Ramsay look on this mon.
What are you?
An idiot sandwich.
Just to add on to the fire typing, I guess. The shell was shaped into more of a chef's coat, accompanied by a large chef hat and foamy neck fluff. To be honest, this thing was literally a walking joke armored with kitchenware. The claws mimic that of oven mittens, and the tail, like the first stage, is a big burger flipper. I really tried to capture some motion in the pose because I'm looking to get better at dynamic posing, and the fire really does this design justice, I will say. As I said before, stylization really helped this mon become a good Fakemon. Gordon Ramsay, Crustache, the chef Pokemon. Crustache are known for their short tempers and love to take control of every situation. Its claws can heat up, along with its hat being able to detect air currents to know how hot or cold the area is. It will only pick a few people to trust, but if angered, it will glow red with fire raging from its head, as if it were about to erupt. Way back in 2 very short months ago, I introduced some psychic types. At the end, I showcased the new Ajatu Evo, which I made way back in January. The color palette was very vibrant and much different from Ajatu, but the design itself, in my eyes, needed a major rework. When I started this redesign, I didn't want to change much. I just wanted to update everything, make it look more 3D, add a few extra things as well. The wings originally felt a little too uneven and stiff, and the robe-like feathers felt out of place. And the angle of the head, just looked way too 2D and could not be in a 3D game. The proportions stayed around the same, but the silhouette is overall so much more appealing than before. As another add-on, I slapped on a few more pairs of eyes onto the wings while making the eye on the chest look real instead of looking like a pattern from the original. As a reminder, this is a counterpart to a Fakemon I have yet to show, but I do think it's a pretty good counterpart to this certain ghost type. Ajatu, the third eye Pokemon. And with that, we are with all of our new Aussie additions to Project Dreamtime. Let me know in the comments which one was your favorite, and as always, have an amazing day. Rex out. Peace.